Hello, beautiful souls. We've got a cameo from the wonderful Kobe this morning. How's everyone doing today? Let me know if you are joining live and where you're from. Today I want to talk about what are you afraid of? This is something that has been, along this journey, this is something that I've been exploring a lot of and really looking at those edges of my comfort zone and seeing where I feel comfortable, where I feel safe, and where I don't, and consciously expanding past that. Eric Wade, oh my goodness. Hi, I'm amazing. How are you and where are you? Let me know. Hello from Colombia. Hello, Tony. You're in Bridgewater. Oh my gosh, amazing. How's life there? So, as we all know, we get into these zones of comfort in our life, the comfort zone, and sometimes life gives us a significant push to move past that, because really we're here to grow and evolve and expand and to become the fullest versions of ourselves, which means consciously taking those steps into those areas that scare us. Oh, bye, Eric. Thanks for saying hello. And so with this beautiful human evolution journey that we're in right now, this awakening of consciousness, we are on the daily being given opportunities to see what our fears are, to see where we feel that internal sense of hesitation, of fear, of avoidance coming up, and noticing where we can consciously choose to move through that and expand into new states of being and into new places. And something that's been coming up a lot in my sessions and with my clients is this fear of being seen. So what does that really mean? The work that I do is really bringing all of the pieces of ourselves back into us, into wholeness, into our bodies, because we've become so fragmented in so many ways, with our energy in so many places, and also condemning and pushing down and maybe even shaming and judging certain parts of ourselves. So, when we were growing up, maybe we felt moments of shame, of embarrassment, of anger, but we didn't know how to process it. We didn't know how to allow that emotion to move through, to be released. So we store all of these things in our bodies, and typically those more challenging emotions, specifically shame, are things that we would rather not look at, and that we also condemn, judge, and shame within ourselves. So we tend to shame our shame. It's like, oh, I don't want to feel that. I'm going to shame the shame. And what this can look like in our lives is just feeling unfulfilled, feeling a lack of vitality and energy. We're not always aware that it's this constant suppression of pieces of ourselves that is leading us to feel fragmented. Hello, Tildy Ferry from Montreal. Thanks for joining. Beautiful, beautiful Montreal. I love Montreal. And so this fear of being seen is really a fear of being seen in all parts of ourselves. So there are parts of ourselves, as I just shared, that we shame and want to hide from ourselves. And so we tend to do that in relationship as well. So we'll want to hide this piece of ourselves that feels unworthy or shameful. We'll want to be like, oh, those don't exist. And in doing that, first of all, we don't allow all of ourselves to be seen and witnessed by another person, but it also can manifest in really subconscious, like passive-aggressive, icky patterns and ways that we play this stuff out when we're not actually acknowledging and looking at what's coming up within us. We can have all of these patterns of avoidance and lashing out maybe at the people in our lives in these subtle ways, pulling our energy back from others, not allowing true connection because of things that we haven't looked at and processed within ourselves. And of course, it's like freaking terrifying to think of allowing someone else to see the parts of you that you maybe haven't even looked at yourself, or maybe you have and you're like, I hate those parts. I hate those parts of myself. But right now is really such a beautiful opportunity to meet those edges within yourself, to really allow yourself to witness and see those parts of yourself that maybe you have been hiding from or avoiding or stuffing down. And, I'm experiencing this in a huge, huge way in my own life right now as I begin this journey of entering a new relationship. I am getting to witness the parts of myself that I have wanted to pretend didn't exist. And even though I've done a lot of work with my own unworthiness and fear of intimacy and vulnerability and shame, I'm seeing these things bubble up within me where it's like, oh, is this safe? Am I safe to express this? Is this safe to share? And it's the scariest part really of being human, is allowing ourselves first, like that intimacy with ourselves where we see all of those shadow aspects, those heavier pieces, the traumas, the pains, whatever you want to call them, where we see those and we acknowledge them and we allow them to be within us, and we give them safety and acceptance, where we're like, oh, okay, like I see that younger version of myself that feels shame, she still exists within me. Can I accept her? Can I give her unconditional acceptance and love and safety? And then on the other side of that is intimacy with others, and then allowing yourself to be witnessed in that way with others. So it really is, now that I think about it, and just with the people that I've been working with lately and knowing myself, it's like we all have these masks that we wear with the people in our lives. And I think that one of the biggest fears that we have is allowing those masks to fall and to really be seen by another and to be witnessed in all of that. And so, being seen. Hi, Cope. Hi. Thanks for joining. She's so damn cute. So, allowing ourselves to be seen by others doesn't mean that we've healed all of those shadow aspects of ourselves. It doesn't mean that we've gone through this perfect self-healing journey and now we don't have any shame or unworthiness or blame or projection or any of that. It's really allowing ourselves, wherever we're at in our journey, to be seen. Oh, Justin, yeah, you love it, right? She's so cute. You're just the best. It's allowing ourselves to be seen in those spaces that we still hold within us. So, for example, for me, entering this new, beautiful, amazing, conscious relationship, I am getting to see those pockets of unworthiness that are just another layer of what I already knew was there, and that I've done a lot of conscious work with the unworthiness and really bringing love and acceptance and healing to that space. but I'm getting to witness those pieces, that extra layer that still hasn't been tapped into. And when that comes up, it can be really scary to acknowledge that it's there, because as I said, we all want to be like the best version of ourselves for the people in our lives. We don't want them to see or to know the inner workings, the more challenging things that we move through, especially when it relates to our dynamic together. And so what I'm being so beautifully gifted with right now is an opportunity to, in every single moment that arises within me, where I'm like, oh my goodness, like something you just said brought something up for me that brought back that unworthiness. And now I'm having that, when we're triggered like that, it's like that internal, first it's like a gasp, like it's like we like hold our breath, and then maybe it's a heaviness, or maybe our mind starts to race. It's an overthinking. And it's like, oh, like, am I good enough? Am I worthy? Those old patterns, those old thoughts can resurface. And what my gift that I'm given right now is an opportunity to, in every single moment that arises, is to just simply express it and to be open and honest, and to just like, when the walls want to go up, instead dissolving those walls and allowing myself to open even more. And this is quite the thing, because even though I've done so much processing of all of this, and I've been in circle with women, I've been in ceremony, I've been in these gorgeous healing spaces where I do get to share all of those pieces of myself. But it's a different thing doing it in ceremony and being like, okay, here's a sacred space for shame and self-judgment and unworthiness to come up. This is Monty. It's a little bit different doing that than, which is so powerful, and we all need those spaces where we can share open and honestly. But for me, I'm finding that the integration of that into the real world, into my real life, into this new relationship is a completely different thing. It's like, okay, yeah, in ceremony, in sacred space, I feel safe to go into that shame and to share it and to be witnessed in that and to have space held. But then in the day-to-day life, it's like, oh wow, like, is it safe for me in this random moment to bring up all of those pieces of myself to be seen? And that's the journey that we're all on, is taking what we've learned in our, personal growth, spiritual growth, self-development world, and then really integrating it into every single moment of our day-to-day lives. And honestly, I'm learning so much so quickly about myself and about all of those pieces that are still lingering inside, and about my own fears of expressing those things and really being seen and witnessed in those. And so, yeah, what I'm learning right now is the unbelievable gift that it is when we can access those parts of ourselves in the moment when they come up. And this isn't to say that, we have to have perfect awareness of what's arising in our bodies, because that's not realistic. But for me, it's like the second I get that twinge of ooh, that triggered a piece of me that feels unworthy, that feels like maybe I'm not lovable, that feels scared. And what I'm really noticing is that when I can recognize that in the moment and move through the fear of expressing it and simply express it outward, not in the form of projection, which means oh, you said something to me, now I'm scared and triggered inside, and so I lash out at you. It's really being so aware of our own internal world, moment to moment, and practicing expressing that to the people in our lives, to the connections in our lives. And what I'm finding is there's such an immense amount of healing that's taking place in me, in my body, with my inner child, even with my inner teenager. You know, we for me, I was a very, very hopeless romantic growing up. You know, the only thing I can remember ever thinking about really is boys, falling asleep, listening to love songs, daydreaming about those perfect moments, those romantic moments. And that part of me is now receiving so much healing, because all of those pieces of unworthiness and fear of being seen and all of that are bubbling up. And I'm in a place right now where I feel safe to share that in the moment when it comes up. Not that do I feel safe? I feel safe enough that I do it, but there's a lot of fear as well. It's like, is this okay to share? Is this okay? Will this push someone away? Because I guarantee that so many of us, I would say all of us, have had experiences where we've been too much for someone, expressing those deep parts of ourselves, especially for women, you know, as we tend to be more emotional as we're growing up and exploring the romantic scene. And so when we have those instances of being too much, called too much, our emotions are too much, then we want to shut everything down. We don't want to express those deep parts of ourselves. So the practice is really getting so connected to you that you are aware when that fear of being seen arises within you. Okay, I was just triggered here. Ooh, that really triggered something within me. Okay, what am I feeling? And it always comes back to a fear. Even you know, shame, unworthiness, it's all a fear of not being loved, accepted, fear of abandonment, of rejection. You know, I had to share something that came up for me this week that brought up a huge old wound, fear of rejection and abandonment. And it almost felt like I was back in those instances when I was younger. Like that immense fear. And I moved through that, and I shared openly and was received so beautifully. And it was such a gift. It brought so much healing to me. So, you know, what do we do when we feel like, I know some of you watching are probably like, I only have one or two people in my life that I would actually feel safe to share with. Or maybe you have no one. Maybe you don't feel like those in your life can hold your shares, hold those deeper emotional shares. And you know, what I would say to that is that continue cultivating that deeper connection with yourself. If it's really an unsafe relationship for you to share, yeah, it's hard. It's hard. If you really feel like you can't share with that person, then take some time to step away, or later go and journal what you were feeling, journal what came up for you, and practice sharing it with yourself. And then naturally, as you continue on this journey of self-awareness and discovery, you will attract the people into your life that are ready to receive you. As you see yourself more, you will bring in those people that are ready to see you. And I can honestly say that because I am so blessed right now with the people in my life that can really receive what I go through internally with them. Even if it's affecting them, they can really hold that space Tildy Fairy, I'm so blessed to have one best friend I can tell anything to. Oh, it's a gift. These people are angels in our lives. They're such gifts. Yeah. And I'm really getting to witness that as I enter this new beautiful relationship. It's like in those moments, I get to be like, wow, like this just triggered shame within me. I'm feeling unworthiness right now. I'm feeling like really, really old, lingering childhood unworthiness rise up right now. And in that moment that I share that, I'm moving through the fear of like, oh, ruining a nice moment, or like bringing heaviness, or like being a buzzkill. It's so funny. That word buzzkill keeps coming to me. It's like, yeah, we're scared to share because it's like, oh, I don't want to like kill the mood or whatever. But when these things are rising within us, the mood is already killed energetically. If something's arising within you, then your energy has shifted. And so the mood, the energy has already shifted. And we can pretend that it hasn't. We can shove it down and be like, oh, I'll deal with you later. But we're getting less and less able to do that now. With the energy that is shifting so quickly on the planet, it is like triggering those deepest parts of us to be seen by ourselves first, and then to express whatever needs to be expressed. And so our ability to hide and to like kind of duck out from all of those things and to avoid and to distract is becoming less and less. And you might notice that if you're trying to distract or avoid, like it'll just keep knocking even louder and louder and louder. So what within you are you afraid to have seen by others? I had a gorgeous, beautiful conversation the other night with some girlfriends about shame, and just sharing around the circle, a really impromptu conversation about shame. We were having wine and doing a clothes swap, and all of a sudden this conversation came up about shame, and it was amazing to go around and see what each of us had been carrying so deeply within that we felt shame about. That we felt if we expressed it to society at large, we would be condemned or judged or shunned. And sometimes even things that if we shared with an intimate partner, we would be judged and shamed. And yeah, judged and shamed. So what are those parts of you that you are afraid to let be seen by others, by yourself? And you can play detective, play discovery by becoming more aware of what's happening in your internal world, becoming more aware of your body, and really feeling when those little moments of ouch or ooh come up. Maybe you feel like a burning sensation come up. I know when anger is triggered within me, it's like a flood of fire that moves through my body. When it's something that makes me feel unworthy, it's like doors just close over my heart, and I'm not breathing as deeply. So what are those parts? What are those things? What are those things that are longing to have the light of awareness brought to them? The light of your own awareness. And then if you are fortunate enough, the light of the awareness and the love from someone in your life that can hold you in that. And holding someone in their shame or unworthiness, what does that mean? Well, it means that someone can be there with you as you share without getting defensive, without taking it personally, and just holding that space for you to express and to feel, and for you to feel safe enough to do that. You know, our society has really overvalued advice giving, and it's like if someone shares something really personal with me, what do I share? What do I say back? And that was me for a long time. I was so uncomfortable with intimate conversations because I was like, am I supposed to fix this? What am I supposed to say? But the beautiful thing about the art of space holding is that as a space holder, as a witness of someone moving through something challenging, we take our own ego out of the equation. So for example, if someone is sharing something with me and it has to do with me, they're like, oh, when you said this, it made me feel all of these things. Well, that could easily trigger something within me to put up my defenses and to be not available to hold space for that person. So what it really requires is a depersonalization. It's like, oh, that's your experience and you're feeling that. And of course I can make adjustments in my language, and if I said something that was, hurtful unintentionally, I can definitely look at that. But as someone's sharing, it's like taking that personalness out of it and just being able to witness them and hold them in that and be like, wow, I see you. I see what you're moving through. That's big. That's challenging. Yeah. And just allowing others to be in their process, to be in their emotions, is the biggest gift that we can give to each other right now. And it's such a beautiful, positive feedback loop, because as you become more aware of what's happening internally, as you begin to bring light and healing to those spaces within, then your ego naturally starts to kind of settle down in terms of not being so offended by things or taking things so personally. And then you actually cultivate the qualities of being a really beautiful space holder, where you're able to do that for others and allow others to come to you and be like, hey, can I share something with you? Like, when you said this to me, this is what it brought up in me. And you can be like, oh, wow. Instead of being like, no, I didn't mean it like that. You're taking it too personally. You're taking it the wrong way. Blah, 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 blah. So inviting you to start. I know those of you who watch me are already on this journey of really just being aware what's happening in your internal world. But starting to really notice where you can maybe not feel fully safe, because expressing those parts of ourselves is always going to be scary. But where you feel, okay, my intention is to become more courageous in expressing those parts of myself that are scared to be expressed, because of the deep healing that it brings and will bring to me. So if that's your intention, if your intention is to allow yourself to be seen, to heal and integrate and bring light to yourself, to become more anchored in yourself, to become more confident, more clear, more embodied, more empowered, more loving, which is all amazing things, right? And byproducts of us allowing those parts to be seen. So if you have that intention for your life, if that is the journey you're on, then I would invite you in those moments where these things arise to really give them space, to be like, what's arising within me right now? And if it's unworthiness, you don't have to know the root cause. You don't have to be like, oh, this is from the time I was 5 and this happened. Great if that comes up, if you have a memory come up, if you see something, if you see a memory, feel a memory, great. But if you don't, you can still express it to someone. You can be like, can I share something with you? My body is just having a really weird thing come up right now. Can I share that with you? They'll be like, yeah. And you can be like, I don't know what just happened in our conversation, but I'm feeling really unworthy, unsafe right now. My body, I have adrenaline going through my body. I don't know why, but it's triggering something within me. And even just the act of expressing that is so powerful and so healing, especially for those of us who have been people pleasers, still are people pleasers, avoided conflict, avoided expressing our needs, avoided rocking the boat, avoided being a buzzkill. This is your permission slip to be a buzzkill. Oh, I don't even like that word. But in the lightest, most cheeky way possible, I mean that. I've been talking about this a lot lately, and the time for inauthentic relationship is moving on out. And I can't tell you the number of new clients I have coming to me for energy healing sessions who are like, I don't resonate with the people in my life anymore. They just don't get me. We're on different wavelengths. I don't feel connected in the same way that I did before to the people in my life. Our relationships just don't feel as deep or as authentic. I'm missing something. And that's what I'm hearing so much of lately, is as people are awakening to discovering and honoring and acknowledging and healing these deeper aspects of ourselves, we start to notice where in our life, where in our relationships we feel safe to connect on that deeper level and to express those things. And it can be a confronting place to be like, I don't have those people in my life. I can't really talk about this stuff with the people in my life. And so I'm really seeing a lot of that in my clients that are coming for healing sessions. And yeah, this journey of awakening these parts of ourselves, of healing, of expansion, it's not always easy. It is scary. You're always meeting your edge of where you feel comfortable and safe, and where your body and your energy is willing you to go. In terms of having a challenging feeling come up inside you that just won't go away, and you get to the point where you're like, I need to do something about this. Your body, your energy field is not allowing you to just sidestep, to cover up those things anymore. So wherever you are, whether you have those people in your life or not, just continuing to come inward to become even more acutely aware of what's happening within you. And in those moments, inviting you to take those small steps out of your comfort zone of expressing what's happening in your internal world. A moment of, wow, I'm really feeling unworthiness right now. Wow, I feel like I have some childhood stuff coming up right now. Just putting words to it, putting voice to it. I've been talking a lot about the throat chakra. Our center of expression is really being called to open more than it ever has before. And we're healing our own lifetime of feeling like our voices were not heard, our expression was not safe. We're healing our lineage. We're healing lifetimes of this. And we're moving into a world where So is our sacral chakra. Yup, Anna, you are right about that. You know, we're healing all of them right now. Sacral for sure. Sacral is our beautiful, sensual, creative flow, pleasure center, which has also undergone a lot of suppression throughout our lifetimes, our ancestry, this current lifetime, where we have been so shamed and disconnected from that part of ourselves. So, you know, when we can voice when shame or unworthiness comes up within us, we're also healing all of our other energy centers as well. You know, shame really sits in for me it's sacral, but it's like sacral solar plexus. Shame and unworthiness. So what are you afraid of? And that's not rhetorical. It's what inside of you are you afraid of? What are those things maybe that you've been afraid to share that trickle up into your awareness maybe once a year, maybe every couple of years, and you're like, oh, don't want to feel that, shove it back down? Or what's coming up moment to moment that you're afraid to fully feel, to fully see, to fully acknowledge, and to share? I feel so incredibly blessed right now, and I just feel like this journey for me is deepening so much by the day as I move through this experience that I'm having right now, where I have someone who I can share these things with every single moment that they arise, and I'm also getting the same in return. I'm getting this beautiful reciprocity of wow, I feel shame coming up right now, or wow, I feel like a pattern of unworthiness coming up right now. It's really, wow, I feel it. Just holding space for one another. I just feel like my understanding and depth in this is just anchoring in more and more every single day. So I'm really excited about where this is taking me and where this can take all of us, as I really, really allow myself to open all of those petals and those doors that have been shut for so long into conscious connection. So that's exciting. So a reflection. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of having seen within you? And that is all from me for today. Thank you everyone for joining. It was great to have so many people jumping on, and I'm sending you all so much love and grace with yourself. Grace with yourself. Whatever is arising, grace, and more grace. Lots of love to everyone. And yeah, let me know down below if you feel what you're moving through. You're welcome, Justin. Natalia, I share a lot with my new partner and he gives back, but when we're not together for a couple of days, I'm the only one giving and not receiving, but I feel good giving. Yeah, gosh, it's interesting, right? Our dynamics together, and then how when we're physically apart, what that can bring up in us and how that can shift the dynamic. You know, if you feel good giving, then that's beautiful. That's beautiful, but it also, if you don't feel good giving, you can create the space to have that conversation and even talk about it from an energetic perspective. You know, we personalize things so much, and that can be, hey, that can be hard sometimes to share or even to receive. It's like, oh, you're not doing this. You're not doing enough of this. But when we look at it energetically, we need to be in this reciprocity of giving and receiving to both feel fulfilled. And so if the balance that you have right now is working for you, Natalia, then that's beautiful. And if it's not, you can bring in that energetic perspective and be like, I feel like I would love to just have a bit more of this flow between giving and receiving. And that makes me feel safe. And, when we're in relationship with someone who is a safe person for us to be with, then they want us to feel safe, and they want to do what they can to facilitate that for us. And you're so welcome, Tildy Fairy. Love, Mona Lisa, hello. I'm just jumping off, but it was a juicy one today. Talking about being seen, being seen, being seen. Yes. Human interaction is so much about both directions and neither neglecting your or your partner's needs. Honestly, that is the balance we are all finding in relationship. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. Receiving that. And I love being here with you, so it's perfect. Yeah, really, you beautiful souls. It's all about coming into an understanding of what we need, being able to give that to ourselves. And often the journey of that it can happen in relationship, of course, but it happens as well when we're by ourselves. It's like cultivating that understanding. This is who I am. This is what I need. And then in relationship, when our needs are being met, we're also able to meet our partner's needs and to not feel resentful or wanting to defend ourselves or pull away or do these passive aggressive things that are not so nice. So yeah, totally agree with that. That's a great topic too. Maybe I'll get into that next time. I'm grateful for you as well, Ms. Mona Lisa, my darling. Sending everyone so much love. Have a beautiful day. I think this is my longest live, but it was really fun. So, sending everyone love. I'm expecting my first child later this year, and I'm so excited and nervous at the same time. Another soul to get in tune with. Oh my goodness. Congratulations on bringing a light being into the world at this time. Wow. Wow. Divinely guided. Wow. Yes, that is going to be an incredible journey. I'm excited to hear about that because that is another level of really, really being aware of ourselves enough to have that infinite capacity for another. Oh, Lisa said, you are putting itself first. That's why your putting yourself first. That's why your divine partner is putting you first. Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing when two people come together who are able to hold each other, but who are able to hold themselves as well. It's divine, as you said, Mona Lisa. All right, guys. Mwah! Have a beautiful day. Bye.